so excited. I get to talk to somebody who is an amazing author, and I enjoyed her book. So I'm trying to find my Kindle. I did another one of these shows, so I've been drinking heavily, guys. I've been drinking heavily already, so forgive me. But Kate Johnson is my guest, and now I'm trying to find my Kindle so I can read to you guys. Oh, found it. She'll be joining us any moment. She is from the UK. She's amazing. She's extremely talented. Her book is like Mad Max meets Firefly. So if you guys like either of those, yeah, I hate it when authors do that. I hate it. This, my book is like, or this person's book is like. It's like my book's original. Darn it, creative. Darn it. And Kate is joining us now. I'm super excited. Yay, Kate, you're here.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hooray! Yes, we tried this earlier.
Did it?
Yes, we tried this earlier. It didn't work. I think it was me. Kate, I feel like I was a technical issue. It was probably all me, but yay. So, Lightning Kugel.
Yes, I have more.
Yeah.
In vodka and something. I don't even know what I've got anymore. Those
Yes.
stuff. Yay!
Well, I just filmed a drunk aspiring authors episode with a friend of mine from my critique group, and which was super fun. So I'll post both tonight. But so I filmed an episode with Kate that didn't work. I filmed drunk aspiring authors. Now I'm filming drunk authors. I am the drunkest I will ever be on this channel. So if you guys want to see me super drunk, I feel like hashtag Ashlynn super drunk. Give up on her. It's all good. Yes.
This is my normal state. I operate like this all the time.
Oh,
I was only thinking,
God.
in a couple of weeks, it should have been the Romantic Novelists Association annual conference, like the RWA thing, but it's a little bit smaller. And that should have been like about 10 days time. Obviously it's cancelled. That is generally the drunkest I will ever get on a continuous rolling basis, because I've been to RWA a few times and it's fun to drink there, but you guys have got nothing on us. I mean, you don't know British authors.
Oh my God, authors are the best people to drink with, hands down, hands down.
Hands down, yeah. Our current chair, she said she found a Facebook post that she'd done a little while ago that said, I've just been to my first romantic novelist meeting. My goodness, they can drink. And I was like, oh, love. And now you're the chair of the entire association and I get you drunk all the time.
I feel like that should be like part of the interview process. You'd like to chair our organization. Let us watch you drink. And how many can you consume within the next hour before you throw up?
Yep. It has been said, in fact, by the chair when I joined, I think, actually, the RNA should really stand for really nice alcoholics.
I love that. I really love that.
We are mostly, let's forget that bit. She says, picking up more vodka.
It's all good. See, Kate and I are romance house sisters. We both are published with Changeling Press. Awesome press.
We were indeed, yeah. Well, you still are. I was, but yeah.
Yes, I'm still there. I love it. So we are house sisters, though.
Yeah.
And so as sisters, we should tell the world what we're drinking. I'm drinking Leinenkugels, not a sponsor yet, but you want to sponsor me, Leinenkugels, from Chippewa Falls. Jack, Rose, if you've seen Titanic, Chippewa Falls. All right, Kate, tell us about your drink.
It's got vodka in it. That's about it. It's vodka and some ginger ale and some tonic. And basically it's 3 o'clock in the morning here. So it's got vodka in it.
I'm so sorry. I forgot how early you guys are.
I'm always awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Usually, I mean, right now the sun comes up about 4:30 in the morning, and I've seen the sun rise for about 3 months now. So I'm also late, so apologize for that part of it. It's when I write best. Yeah.
So you're definitely on author clock. Yes, I feel like a lot of authors are either super early birds or super late birds. I'm just a bird. So, I'm a peacock. Peacock.
Did you see the peacock behind me right here?
I do.
Who's lighting up a little bit right now? Yeah.
I like your lighted cock.
He's my light up cock. Yeah.
Yeah.
His name is Percy. He's Percy the peacock. He lives there now.
He's pretty cool. I'm a
He's
little
pretty good.
jealous that I don't have any light up cogs in my house.
He's actually, he was slightly less cool. He's my mum's birthday present because like we had a conversation where I explained that we have peacocks who live in my village because let's pretend all English villages have peacocks.
Of
And
course.
mine certainly does. Of course, of course. And 4 of them landed on the roof earlier. And have you ever heard a peacock scream?
Oh no, but I feel like it can't be good.
Okay, the noise the peacock makes. See if I can do this. It's about
Oh my god, that's
yeah,
awesome. Sorry.
it's alarming. They do that sometimes. They just saunter around the village and scream occasionally. But they're usually fairly, chilled out. They just stop, like they wander across the road and the traffic has to stop. When I say I live in a village, it's quite a large village. We are attached to an international airport close to London. Traffic can't really afford to stop, but it does because there's a peacock just going, well, look at me, I'm beautiful. And people stop and take pictures. They get out the car and take pictures. So yeah.
In America, I feel like someone would shoot it and eat it. I'm just saying. It's
I'm
like,
fair illegal here. But yeah, I mean, yes, we do. They're not exactly native to Britain, are they, peacocks? But we've got some anyway. They've been here for as long as I can remember, and they just wander up. My cats hide. They cower. They're like, that's not a bird. What is it? Birds are like this big. We don't do that.
yeah, I feel like if my food was like a house, like a 3-story house-sized burger, and it was coming at me, I would hide as well. I'd be
Yeah.
like, "No, Ronald McDonald, no!" I feel like that is a legit reaction from the cats.
I think that would be, yes, that is a genuine reaction. But I've barely seen my cats all day long. We've got a heat wave here at the minute, so they generally just hide. I've got one very long-haired cat who gets sunburned. I have to put sun cream on his ears. Oh, he gets burned. Doesn't like it, but so I've barely seen them. I'm expecting one of them to come. It'd be fun if one of them came in and went, "Hello," and it was beautiful. But they won't because they're cats and they are perverse. If my dog was still with us, unfortunately she died a year or 2 ago. She would have been going, "Hello, hello, hello," and there'd be a little nose like here in the screen, sort of going, "Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, right now, right now." I like this. This would be my dog.
I feel like cat owners know what it's like to be the mistress because like cats are like, I will only love you in secret. Like no one can
Yeah,
ever see me love you.
yeah,
I
that's
feel like
completely it.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
No
So
one can know.
exactly. We have a cat that hugs people, but
Oh,
it's almost impossible to catch her hugging another person. Although I'm
yeah.
pretty sure she tried to push my son off the couch the other night, like cats push things off counters. I'm pretty sure she was trying to push
Oh,
him off
yeah.
the couch so she could sit closer
Yeah,
to me.
my place might get off. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I have a cat. Just the softest, sweetest. He's like, his fur is like a cloud. He's pure white. He's so soft. He's
Aw.
beautiful. He loves to cuddle with me. He's just the sweetest thing. And if anybody turns up and I'm like, "Here is my friend," he's like, "Get away from me. Who are you? What is a stranger? What are you doing to me?" No. It's fine. Could you just not?
All of our cats love people. It's really weird. We get guests and the cats
Really?
all come out to see them. I know, we have the weirdest cats. Although one of them is a murderer. He tried to kill me actually. Christmas,
Oh,
like 3 years ago, he did try to murder me. He bit me like randomly, like he'd never bitten anybody. And he bit me so badly that I went to the hospital and I was in the hospital for 3 days.
God.
Yeah, it was terrible infection from this cat bite. Hospital 3 days. My sister's a nurse and she came in and she's like a wound care specialist nurse and she like came in and she's like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Don't
See?
say that, don't look freaked out, you're supposed to be calm and make me calm." But yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, but he's still with us because my daughter loves him, and
Yeah.
I was like, if I take him to the pound, he's getting put down, and I am not a murderer like he is. So but he but we live together. He hasn't bit me since. I'm the only one, and weirdly, I'm the only one who will still touch him. Like everybody else is like gives him like they give him this. Yeah, he's like a gangster. Everybody's like, "Whoa, respect, respect." I'm like,
Yeah.
"F you, get off the table." Down you go.
I, I have a cat like that who was she was a stray. Slightly long story, but relevant here for drunk authors. I went down to the pub one day and came home with a cat.
I feel
Um,
like you woke up and you regretted that decision.
I've never regretted it. She sleeps on my bed quite frequently, which when I tell you I have actual scar tissue from that cat, you will probably think I'm insane. Cat people will go, yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. And non-cat people will be like, what is wrong with you? But we took her up to the vets once. We had to wait for a while, and she was annoyed and she was angry in her box that she's had to, like you would be. You're trapped in a plastic box. You'd be angry. So we get her out, and she just went ow against me, and then sunk her teeth into my hand, like in the pad of my thumb. And I just went, oh, it's fine. Just check her over and give her all her, boosters and everything. She'll be fine. The vet went, you should wash your hands. And I went, oh, she does this to me every day. And the vet went, what? I said, she bites me all the time. Not every day. Don't be silly. She bites me all the time. I'm fine. I'll wash it later. It'll be all right. I didn't want to say to her, I usually don't bother to wash them at all. I have a very robust immune system is what I'm saying. But basically the vet was going hysterical about, you've got to wash your hands. And I was like, fine. Anyway, I washed my hands and the cat was fine and we were fine. We went home. We saw in the pub where I have all my social meetings, the guy who runs the vet practice, we told the story to him and he was aghast. He was like, you have to wash your hands every single time the cat bites you. And I was like, I don't have enough soap. There isn't enough. Like, I've not washed my hands with COVID-19 as many times as you think I would have to wash my hands. I've got a very good immune system. And
I would agree.
And she goes into my hand. She's a very sweet cat.
Very sweet. This cat bit me literally to the bone. Maybe that's why I ended up in the hospital. But we had to drug the cat to take it to the vet. The vet actually has a prescription on standing order. Yeah.
My dog tranquilizes for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then to get the drug into the cat is a terrifying process. So, of course, I am the one who everybody in the family is like, well, drug the cat. Oh, I get to be I'm like the red shirt. Like if there was a show, Star Trek, the red shirts, they all died. I'm the red shirt of the family. They're like, yes, drug the cat. So.
Yeah, I'm the red shirt of the family as well. Yeah. It's in my house. It's like you wanted the cats in the first place. This goes back to when I was this big, and my parents. We've established I write for a living. I live with my parents, so that's the kind of income I have. I got cats when I was 6 years old. I've never not had cats. And well, if they're your cats, I'm like, well, Dad, as long as you can pay the vet's bills, I will give the cat the bill, and it's always been me who has to do that. But no, we're going way off topic here. My dog was diabetic, so we had to inject her twice a day. And when the vet first told us that, my first thought was, thank God it's not one of the cats.
that is the truest thing I've ever heard in my life. You would be dead right now if one of the cats was diabetic.
Exactly.
My sister, she's like
broke off and gone everywhere.
Yeah, my sister. Well, she's my half sister, but her mom has a cat that's diabetic, and they have to give it shots. And I've always thought to myself, I would love to watch that. I would love to watch that procedure because none of our cats would be happy. They don't like it if you touch them near their rumps. Let alone, here's a needle, kitty. I'm gonna put it in you. That sounds terrible.
With the dog, it was the scruff of her neck. Okay. So they just said, while she's eating her food, grab the scruff of her neck and stick the needle in. Now, she was half Labrador. Anybody who knows Labradors will tell you they are so obsessed with their food that a meteor could hit and they wouldn't notice as long as they were eating. So as long as her nose was in her food, she had no idea I was sticking a needle in her all the time. But I said if it was the cats, I mean, twice a day. My cats are, I know it's not as common as in America, but my cats are outdoor cats. They have a cat flap. They come in and out. As I speak, the back door is wide open. My cats can just walk in and out whenever they want. Which means that trying to get them to eat twice a day is completely impossible. They just do what they want, and I am their, sort of willing slave.
I get that. Yeah, our neighbors actually on their window, they've built like this cat house thing on their window. On their like they've got like a attached like sunroom to their house, and so they've got this like cat room built onto their sunroom. And our cat tree is by our window that faces their weird cat room, and our cats will watch their cats all day, and they're just like watching each other, and I'm like, this is sad. This is cat TV for you. It's very sad.
Oh, yeah.
And they're very
Yeah.
social people, even with the COVID. And people will come over to their house. And almost every time we have people that talk to our cats. And it's really interesting. It's really kind of funny. It's like our cats have more social lives than we do. It's really
We
sad.
actually have got to know people with COVID and everything. We've got various people. It's kind of hard to describe where I live. It's kind of on a lane with people who live down the road from us. And we were sitting outside in the front garden. We don't do very often. It was VE Day, and it felt like this vaguely VE Day thing to do. Anyway, confusing. We were sitting out in the front garden, and I came by and did their usual, look at me, aren't I very, very beautiful, that cats do. And people walked by, and every time somebody walked by and said, is that your cat? And I was like, we've lived here for a very long time. The cats have been here a very long time. You know that's my cat. Anyway, this is Spike, and he's very fluffy, and he likes this, and he doesn't like that, and he's very friendly. May I also introduce you to? So we're like, here are my cats. But kids love them. Like, there's plenty of kids who live down my street, so they walk past, and we can actually see them out the window if somebody stops and points, like, you can tell that it's a child going, Mommy, look at the cute cat. It's one of mine. He'll be sitting there and do the cat equivalent of this, you know. You can look, but you can't touch, darling.
You know, I feel like people get along better if there's animals involved, because people are like weird with each other. They're like, I can't talk to you, stranger. But then there's an animal, and they're like, oh my God, I have to pet your animal, meet your animal, and love your animal a long time.
Yeah, oh, so much. Yeah, it's like you meet other dog walkers. Like, I've got cats now. I had dogs for a long time, but my dog died about a year and a half ago. But the people you meet when you have a dog, my dog was blind for quite a lot of her life. So she had a harness on her that said blind dog, and people went, is it you on the dog that's blind? And I was like, well, you just looked into my eye and asked me that question whilst the dog has walked into a lamppost. So what do you think? Really?
So you were the dog service animal, basically.
Service animal. I was like, no, don't walk into that. So yeah, if she could hear, she wasn't completely blind, but yeah, she would walk into things if she couldn't smell or hear. But in like an open environment, in a field or a meadow or something, she'd just ping around like a puppy. It was lovely. It was really sweet.
I feel like you should have had a vest that said "Service Human." That would have come.
I should have had one.
Yeah, then people wouldn't have asked. They would have been like, "Oh, look how well that dog trained their service human. That's great." So yeah, I feel like pets train us. It's not the other way.
Yeah. Oh my God. When she died, we'd sent her to the vets. We don't know what to do with all the stuff we had, like a harness that said this. I said, you know, if anyone wants it, let us know. And no one ever came for it, because it's specific to the size of the dog, I suppose. But it's amazing the amount of people who went, oh, my dog is blind. I would love to have something like that. So people will, you know, maybe think twice before they walk into the dog, or see why she's, you know, headbutting furniture and things like that. But anyway. Sorry.
Why is she humping this tree like that? My leg's right here. What? Oh, but that makes me love your books even more. So you guys can buy Kate Johnson's books. I'm going to read a sex scene, and I'm, like I said, this is my third try at being a drunk author.
There is a cat in Max 17.
This is true.
Yeah, Cat turns up, and I wrote Cat as kind of like a feline version of Max, because Max is basically the human version of a cat. She just, like, her morals are kind of, well, I don't really care, and then every now and then she's like, shit, I actually like you. I don't like that feeling. So yeah, that's why I wrote Cat into Max.
Yeah, I can see that. And, you know, and honestly, I love your heroine. I love that she's not like the traditional, like, damsel in distress, save me.
Oh, so much.
Oh, she's so awesome. And you guys have got to read this book.
But she doesn't like wanting to be rescued, and she's the one who does the rescuing as much as possible. Yeah. Max is awesome.
I'll say I feel bad for the hero. He wanted to be noble and gallant. She did not let that happen. I love it.
No, she does not let it happen. No.
So you need to look for Kate Johnson, Max 17, which is super sad. Max, I'm not going to spoil a lot, but Max was raised in an orphanage and nobody gave her a name. And so that's how the name, I'm like, oh. So anyways, all the feels. And but tell us, where can they buy Max 17? Because after I read the sex scene, all drunk and dramatic, they're going to want this rest. They're going to want this book.
You can buy it from Amazon. You can look on Amazon for Max 17 by Kate Johnson, or the short link is mybook.to/M Max 17. That's MAX 17. Or you can just look on Amazon for Max 17. And it won a Romantic Novel of the Year award. I'd just like to for that.
Well, it's a great book. I mean, I've read self-published books that were like, I'm like critiquing in my head. I didn't do that. I read this book. I enjoyed it as much as anything the big five. I think there used to be six, but now everybody says the big five. As much as anything that's like put out by one of the big money houses has put out. I've enjoyed this book. In fact, I've enjoyed this book more than some of those, and I found less mistakes than some of those. So that is a compliment to your editor.
Yes, my editor, who I'll give a shout out to, it's Ruth Long, who edited the books, who is a very good friend of mine, and she's brilliant. And she spotted, when I asked for somebody who could edit my book, she said, well, I'm not an editor, but I could play one on TV.
Best answer I've ever heard. That's awesome.
Yes. Well, she's brilliant.
She did a good job with your book. I was really impressed with your book, and I really enjoyed it. And do you want to give a quick synopsis in your words, not giving anything away, before I read the sex?
It's Mad Max meets Fury Road. Max is a convict whore pirate who ends up in some even worse company than she expects. And Riley is also a pirate who never expected to be one. That's probably what you need to know. They've been involved in shenanigans, big fights, big battle scenes. I like writing scenes where there's lots of blood. And this is sort of the aftermath of one of those scenes, I think.
Okay, we've got shenanigans and undulating.
We've got much undulating, yeah.
Yes. Before earlier, when the recording didn't work, I went a little crazy with undulating. Forewarning, it may happen again because I've had more alcohol, and undulating is even better when you've had more alcohol.
Yes.
Except for your partner when you pass out. Hi, honey. Anyways. My husband, if he watches this, he'll say, I get that. I feel that. All right. So, without further ado, Max 17 and some sex.
Max likes her sex.
She does. Max laughed, a low, dirty chuckle, and smoothed her hands over his chest. What do you want to do with me? Everything. God, it was too much. Riley slid his hand slowly up her thighs, over her hips, circled her waist. She looked down at his progress, her small breasts moving as she breathed. Riley caressed his way up her back, over the healing scars from Justine's whip, and gently pulled her down to lie against him, finding her mouth with his and enjoying it. His fingers feathered over the soft stubble of her scalp. Max has a buzz cut, just so you're all not confused. Because, you know, it's easier to get in a bar fight if you don't have long hair. Totally.
Yep. Yeah. Any questions about that?
Yes. And he smiled as she touched him the same way. Max rolled to her side, tugging him with her, sliding her leg over his, and undulating! Yes, undulating! Okay, so I'm really excited about the word undulating. Undulating! Okay, I feel like I should not put this on the internet because undulating.
It made the audio go a bit weird.
My screaming made the audio. Zoom was like, okay, the Zoom bots were like, no undulating, none. Undulating.
Undulating is bad.
Okay, let's say undulating at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Undulating. Wait, you're drinking? That's not fair. Okay. Undulating. Okay, my Wisconsin accent, your amazing, sexy British accent. Yes, undulating. Okay, I'm like, I have no idea where I'm at in your book right now. I'm just like, where's the word undulating? Because I feel like that was where I left off. So, yes.
I don't know, but in time, just went strange when you started out talking about undulating. Okay, let's
It
not undulate.
undulated for us. Zoom was like, oh, it's like Alexa, undulate. And Zoom was, oh my God, Alexa just went off. Oops. And like Zoom's like undulating right now. I feel like the machines someday will take over and they'll be undulating and they will enslave me to undulate and nobody wants to see that. Damn it, futuristic dystopia. That nothing good happens here. And so this is what happens when you talk to authors.
Well,
like,
you can never trust.
yeah, you talk to authors, and next thing you know, the conversation's like and you're just like, what happened here? But we were talking about the price of beef, and now we're talking about naked beef. What? How does this work? How? Okay.
It happens so very often. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I'd have more friends if I didn't go on author tangents. But her leg over his and undulating against him. She was wet down there, hot and slick against his hip, and Riley's hands clenched with the desire to touch her. And if you want more of this book, you have to buy it. You have to undulate your ass to Amazon.
Yes.
Buy this book. And I will post links on this video.
I'm pouring more vodka, actually. That's why I'm looking at something that's off the screen, because I'm pouring vodka.
Woo! I support you drinking. I mean, our livers are suffering for these people's entertainment.
They are suffering so much, and I'm pouring in. I don't actually know what's in this. I think it's tonic. Probably. I don't know. But
it's not peacock tears, right? It's not the tears of the peacocks in your yard.
Really hard to catch them. The little bastards peacocks.
Oh,
they don't taste like good anymore. Too bitter. Yeah.
Darn peacocks. Anything with cocks in it, I like.
Percy here behind us is cockless, so we can just enjoy his.
Percy, I am so sorry that they took your cock and put lights up in your gullet. That is just nothing good about that.
The things that we do in this country to poor game animals, we just, we go and shoot them, and then we turn them into metal sculptures. Yeah, it's horrific.
PETA, don't spam us, PETA.
Animals into metal sculptures or something. I'm highly against it anyway. Yes.
Cheers to being against turning the live peacocks into metal sculptures. Cheers.
Definitely. Bad thing.
Only artists should do anything with metal. And
no.
Make sure that you give the peacocks enough cock that nobody will ever have this. Yeah. Give them the respect they deserve. The respect.
At this point, I don't know if you can actually see my hands have got like paint all over them. You probably can't. I might have washed most of it off actually, but I was making, you know when you get little book inserts in a bookshelf?
Oh, yes.
I decided to make some. This is what COVID has done to me. It's going, don't write your own book. Go and make it. I started knitting. I made a rainbow to go in the window. We're in this country, we're doing the rainbows to support the NHS. When we stopped bothering to that, I went, but it's Pride Month. Let's leave the rainbow to do Pride. I've made, so basically I've been doing anything to avoid actually writing my book, and lately I've been making little book inserts, including, I've been buying so much stuff off Amazon, including lights, so I've basically got paint all over my nails because I spent the evening painting a little Cornish village to look like the current books I'm writing, which are, what am I writing? Christ, there's been a lot of vodka.
I feel your pain.
I'm writing cozy mystery. That's definitely what I'm doing. Jesus. I should have been in Cornwall last week on holiday, and I can't be there because of bleh. So, yes, I keep looking at pictures of Cornwall on TV and going, I should be there, and there should be beaches and sand, and there isn't. Anyway.
Well, do you want to feel better about yourself? Let me help you. I once had a book blogger that was excited to meet me and asked me about my books, and I could not remember the names of the books in the series. And I had to look them up on Amazon in real time in front of this woman. And she still took a picture with me, but deep down I feel like she was like, I feel like you're an impersonator. And I feel like you should get a skinnier, better looking Ashlynn impersonator next time. So
I have done that actually quite a lot because I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been writing books, and because I wrote novellas for Changeling, I genuinely have lost count every time I try to count them, they slide away and they go into like anthologies and stuff. Somewhere between 25 and 30, I think. And then novels that I wrote in my own name is over a dozen. And then I sort of shoot for an era somewhere around maybe 35. I don't know. But somebody actually praised me a while ago when I was talking about, yay, my next book is out. She said, congratulations on your first novel. And I went, actually, it's my 14th. And she went, okay,
Wah,
well,
wah,
congratulations
wah.
on that. And that was just a novel, not novellas. So, yeah, I can't remember. And then sometimes someone will tell me about, oh, I love this bit in your book where this happened. And I'm like, yeah, I can't
Which
remember.
one?
No idea. That's like 4 years ago. What?
That's the amazing part of being an author. You've touched
Yeah.
somebody with that moment of like they have proven that when you're writing, your brain works the same way as a schizophrenic person. So your mental illness has touched another human soul and caressed
Yes.
it and probably made it a little bit dirtier. And so congratulations. Yeah. So I feel like I should not be a motivational speaker. I feel like that is not my career path.
We probably are actually, because we all hear stories inside our heads. And if you actually investigate that, it's not good to go well, is it?
I agree. I agree. How old were you when you first started telling yourself stories? Before you
When
knew
I
you were a writer.
first started telling myself, I don't think there was an age. I've always done it. Yeah, forever. The first time I actually thought I want to write a story, I was 16. And it was the summer of, in England, our GCSEs we do when we're 16 years old. And then we do this, we did many years ago when I was that age. Then you can like do another 2 years. So basically at the age of 16, I got a summer free and I started telling myself stories. And at that point I went, oh, I like this. I really like this. So I started doing that. And I wrote stories and I wrote lots. And then it feels slightly embarrassing to actually tell this, but the first story I sold was to Changeling Press. And I was 23, which at the time people were just like, you were how fucking old?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. As if like when someone says, I lost my virginity when I was, and I was like, but 23. So, to write your first book, it's not like, actually 23 is quite young for your first book. It's like when someone tells you they lost their virginity when they were, 12 or something. It's that kind of weirdness. But it was, I was very immature as a writer, I think. But yeah, you grow.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like people to read anything I wrote yesterday. Every book is better. Every book is better.
It's horrifying to look back at something that happened a while ago, and you grow all the time, completely. Yeah.
Well, and that's the cool part. Like, I've written books, people read them, and they liked them, and I wrote them, like, back in, like, 2010, and people still like them, and it's like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. But the reader's experience and the writer's experience and a critiquer or editor's experience, totally different things. And so it's like every book I've written, I would make a million changes on if I could.
Oh, yes, completely. Every single book. Yeah. Especially if sometimes it's something that an editor is that you went, not too sure about. And sometimes I've got books back that I've had the rights back to that I've gone, oh, I don't think I would say that now. And that's like a modern interpretation. But that's a discussion for another day, I think, about how we look back at books we might have written then. I hope I'm looking back at things and going, I didn't say anything that was horrible, but also not sure I would have said it now.
Yeah, I have books I've gotten the rights back to that are sitting on a computer in my house and will never see the light of day again. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially with 2010, 2009, 2010. Don't read those, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it to them. There's still some out there for sale. Don't do it. Look at the copyright. Look at the copyright.
There's some things that I really want to get the rights back to that I can't. and I will not talk about the publishers that did those. Yes, and I want to fix them.
I feel your pain completely. And
Yes.
the worst thing that ever happened to me as a writer, I have a funny story. So I wrote this book, and the publisher is now defunct because he took everybody's money and ran to another country. Not even kidding you.
Uh-huh. Oh,
But it was
wow.
with Silver. It was with Silver Publications. Those of you who know Silver know I was part of that whole evil hot mess. And but they did audiobooks like the year before they went out of business. They're like, yeah, renew with us, because they were new people were leaving right and left. Like, renew with us, give us your rights again, and we'll do audiobooks. I'm like, well, that'd be kind of fun. So were some of my really early books. I was like, yeah, I'll do audiobooks. And you didn't get to like pick your narrator. Well, the one book that they had for me, she had the sweetest fucking voice. She was just, I'm an angel. And every time she said cock, I was like, I'm going to hell. I couldn't proofread it, because you have to listen to proofread it to make sure there's, pronouncing names right and stuff, because it was
I never
sci-fi.
got that with my audiobooks. I never got to listen. I just got sent them afterwards.
Oh, you're
God
so
damn it.
blessed. So blessed,
Yeah,
because it was
not
horrific
really.
having to proofread them. It was so bad, proof listening to your books, because at some point it's like somebody's reading your book, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're like, suddenly get into listening, you're like, shit, I wrote that, that's awesome. And then another moment you've got cock, and you're like, oh my god, an angel should never say that word. Why did you pick that narrator? She should be narrating the Bible, damn it. Why? So I'm pretty sure I'm doomed. When I get up to heaven, they'd be like, you did everything right except for that one book and the narrator, and now you go to hell. Wait, it wasn't my choice. It wasn't. Silver, damn you. I feel like that's how I end. That's the end of me.
Well, I'm gonna go up to heaven, and they're gonna go, well, there was Max 17, and
Oh.
that was fine. Yeah, my version of heaven is fairly cheerful. So
It's a pretty good read. I feel like you'll get up there and St. Pete will be like, just get in. I read it. I liked it. I'm not supposed to let you in, but come on. Give me a signed copy. I'll let you in.
it ends up mostly fine. They're quite good people, generally, mostly. I like, when I write people, I'm like, where is their moral compass going to go? Are they going to be generally good or generally bad? If they're generally good, I'm going to write them. But anybody who's completely good is obviously very, very boring.
I agree.
Yeah, so dull. Yeah, so morally ambiguous. Yeah, we want the question.
Well, and that's the hardest part of being an author, is where do you draw the line? You don't want all of your characters to be the same cookie cutter perfection. You don't, but you always have the reader, because book reviews are like the internet. You say, I like oranges, and the next thing you're like, why don't you like bananas? What's wrong with you?
Complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And so it's like, I don't read my reviews. I was like, it doesn't really bother me per se, like it wouldn't keep me from writing or whatever. And I've had, over the years, sometimes I've actually had good opinion, like, because I'm more likely to believe bad reviews. Like, I'll read a bad review and I'll be like, oh my god, I totally do suck. I'll read a good review and I'll be like, Grandma, is that you? You're dead. How did you do this? You're dead, Grandma. So it's like, it's just, if somebody praises me, I don't believe it. If somebody criticizes me, I'm totally believing it. Probably my bad childhood. I'm just saying.
Well, it's like, it's Pretty Woman. The bad stuff is easy to believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, completely, yeah. We all believe the bad stuff. You don't believe the good stuff. Oh, many theses could be right about authors and our insecurities. But we have such insight into the human condition.
And I think that most of the authors I know, I think there's an empathy that you have as an author that other people lack.
Yes. But it's a weird kind of empathy, because you can kind of look into other people, but you can also observe them a bit more, with a bit more detachment.
Distant.
And also look at your own life and go, oh, this terrible thing has happened to me. Oh, I might write about this one day. And you can look at things with detachment. So, yeah, we're strange people. We shouldn't really be allowed to document the human condition, really, when you look about it that way.
I'm completely with you. Like, I had one book series The whole thing came from my daughter has terrible anxiety, terrible anxiety. It's a sad thing. She's 18 now. The time when we found out about everything, she was 13, and she had a teacher that pushed her so hard. She had something they diagnosed as delusional anxiety. We thought she was
Ooh.
schizophrenic. It was horrific. She like there was knives. It was bad. It was horrific. Let's put it this way. It was the worst week of my life,
Mm.
and an entire book series came out of that because like as I'm not able to sleep and I'm laying in bed and I'm going over things and go just trying to like do that fall asleep thing and tell yourself stories like, oh, what if you're a human and you wake up one day and your daughter's turned into a werewolf? You. And so my entire my Moonlight Peril series is completely based on this horrific thing that actually happened to me. And it turned out and it's like people who know me can't read the book because there are parallels to different things. They're like, I love you, but no, I'm tagging out. But
Yeah,
I've
that's too personal. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
when we talk about getting personal, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning here and I've had some wine. So,
Well, let's
wine,
do it.
vodka.
Get personal.
I wrote a book where my heroine sees ghosts, and that was going to be fun. And it was going to be like this fun, cute, paranormal kind of thing. And my hero is a paranormal investigator. And I worked more into her seeing ghosts background. And I realised that a child who thinks that she can see people who aren't there is probably going to have some sort of psychiatric treatment.
Yeah.
And she eventually ended up, this character ended up going into all these sorts of backgrounds. And at the same time I was writing this, I was going through quite a bad time in my own personal life. And I ended up self-harming. It was in a minor way, and it has not left very many visible scars. But it was something that I ended up writing about with her. So when the character kind of came out, when I ended up writing about her, I thought it would be very strange if I didn't put that experience into her, because it's very much a part of what she would have been going through as I was going through. And then it's very difficult then to separate yourself from your characters in that sort of sense. But yes, that's where I wrote probably the most of myself into that character. And then I went, oh my God, am I making it too depressing and it's too awful? And then I wrote Max, which was much more cheerful and has people, having their heads cut off and things, which I enjoy much more.
Well, having people's heads cut off, super cheerful. I
It's
can't
very
think. Beheading is the new like hooray because we're in 2020. So
well, I don't know, I'm English, so we cut people's heads off, or we used to cut people's heads off with sort of joy and abandon. And it was sort of, we used to actually do that as let's face it, public entertainment.
America as well with their hangings. I'm right with you.
Yeah. Well, we used to just let's see the Queen's head being cut off. That's an entertainment, isn't it?
Well, if somebody had to roll, let's have it be the Queen.
Well, when I said the Queen, it was only the King's wife had her head cut off. That was Anne Boleyn. Mm-hmm. But we actually once cut off the King's head. The actual ruling. Yeah,
which king did you? Oh, really?
Charles first, yeah.
Wow, my British ancestors were hardcore then, huh?
They were very hardcore. It was it was 1642, I think. We had our English Civil War at that point in the 1630s. The Parliament against the King. The King kind of went, I can do whatever I want, and Parliament said, no, you can't. And then it was very long and drawn out, and it was very bloody, and it ended very badly, and they cut off his head for treason. The King said, treason is only against the crown. And they went, no, it's not. And they cut off his head. And we had a republic for 11 years. And then the head of the republic died, and then the heir to the throne came back, and everything was restored. We didn't do well as a republic. We don't work in that sort of environment. Also, Oliver Cromwell, who was the guy who cut off the king's head, went off and started slaughtering people in Ireland, like locking women and children in churches and burning them alive. So it did not work out well for anybody, literally anybody at all. This took a very dark turn. How did I get into English history's darkest moments?
All my fault. But to lighten things up, earlier in our Zoom video that never was, I
Yes.
feel the Zoom video that only we got to enjoy. We did talk about how our countries are united by bad hair. And I feel like all of this, COVID, 2020, everything will end if we just get some beauticians, some barbers who really know their shit, and they take
We want
Boris
to get
and
done.
Donald and they get them in a room together, and they use scissors, and they're like, "We will make you beautiful." Snip, 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 and they
Yeah.
come out of the room. They look great, and all of a sudden, all of the world's problems are resolved. It's all about
I
hair.
think we have leaders with very bad hair, and it's very the same color hair. It's sort of dead cat white.
Yeah.
But Donald seems to think that he looks great, whereas Boris actually, and I know this from people who have been involved, he purposefully does this before he goes on camera to make himself look bad. Like, look, he wants to look like it. I don't know. We're all doomed. Like I said, I want to go to New Zealand. I would do very well. I could do New Zealand accent. I would do very well in New Zealand. I like it. It's a very good kind of climate. I sound actually weirdly South African right now. I could dial that down to New Zealand, maybe. Like I said, there's been a lot of vodka.
Well, we talked about how Canada has a good-looking prime minister,
Yes.
Justin Trudeau, and so let's have a toast to Canada. Canada. You were sort of part of the U.S. You were sort of part of England. You escaped all of us, and you are doing well.
You are doing very well. You're part of the Commonwealth. Your queen is Queen Elizabeth.
True enough. I would escape to you, but I feel like you won't let me in. You'll be like, "What value do you bring?" I bring erotic romance. Get back to the U.S. with your bad hair president. Screw you. I'm so close. I'm like 3 hours away from you, Canada. Let me just drive to you, because I'm in the cold Wisconsin.
I could be in Ireland the actual flight to Ireland is about 45 minutes from me. I live very, very close to an airport. And I have good friends in Ireland. I've been there loads and loads and loads. And after the whole Brexit, oh my God.
You're ready to leave. Ready to flee.
So very much. If I could find a shred of Irishness in if my grandfather had claimed his great grandfather as Irish, I could claim it, but now I can't because, they're all like dead or whatever. So no, I've just got to wait till Aidan Turner wants to marry me, and then I can be Irish. That's basically, or until my Irish friends want to adopt me, which would be strange because they're about 10 years older than me. So it would be slightly odd if they did. But anyway, it'd be great.
What about like a 23andMe kind of DNA thing? Now, I've done that, and I found out all sorts of cool things about my ancestors. I actually did find out some really amazing stuff, and I was like super proud of my ancestors after I found this stuff out. But what about a 23andMe? Could you be like, look at my DNA. I am Irish enough. Take me, save me, bring me in.
They don't actually allow that on a passport, sadly. They actually want like one of your... If you have a parent or grandparent who's Irish, you can apply for an Irish passport, which is really generous from anywhere. My great grandfather was Irish, and he did not have an Irish passport, and his father came over at a time when Ireland was still part of the British Empire, so it's all sort of sighingly annoying. It can't happen. But if I did one of those 23andMe things, they would sort of go, I did some ancestry stuff, and it went, Yorkshire, you're from that. I'm from Yorkshire, all of Yorkshire. Just keep going around Yorkshire, that's where you're from. And but if you want to go for something cool, most of Yorkshire, if you look at the place names in Yorkshire, if you're into Viking history, the Vikings settled Yorkshire.
So you're a little bit Viking, sexy.
All of the place names in Yorkshire are Viking, and if you have long-running DNA in Yorkshire, you are a Viking.
Very nice, very nice. Please don't conquer me. Please don't conquer me.
I am actually very tall. You can't see right here. I'm about 5'10", and when my hair is, not in COVID state, I'm quite blonde. And yeah, we are quite Viking in my family, basically. So
Very
it's
nice.
mostly like, yeah, one of our the oldest Viking settlements in Britain is Jorvik, which is York in modern parlance. So yes, we're all from there. I'm rambling again, aren't I?
No, no, it's all good. Like it was fascinating. I did like I said, I did the 23andMe, and it like specifically is like your Irish ancestors are from Cork County. Like, cool. So it was really interesting. And like I found out an amazing piece of family history I did not know. I had no idea. But like 5 generations or four or 5 generations ago, my great grandfather had been a slave. Like I don't look black in any way or shape or form, but he was from the Congo. And I found out later that it's like I had family history that backed up. My aunt got really angry that I had posted online about this. And she's like, "Oh, this is a family secret." I'm like, "What? I don't know this, and I'm family. What?" And so it turns out this man had escaped slavery in the South, came up north, fell in love with a farmer's daughter. They ran off, got married, had a baby. Something happens to him. The family history doesn't say what, but he's gone. So we're thinking he's dead. She comes home to her family in Wisconsin. They put her in an insane asylum where she died, and they raised the baby as white. Super sad.
Oh
Super
no!
sad. Legit family history. I need to write the book someday. But yeah, it's
Oh
legit
my
family
God!
history.
You're
Yeah,
so write that book one day.
yeah. But I had no
That's
idea. I mean, I look like this. I would have never, like, if somebody would have told me that, I'd be like, no, that's not correct. I'm German and Irish. And, and it was cool because I, like, when I did the 23andMe, like, these German ancestors are from Bavaria, these Irish ancestors are from Cork County, these English ancestors are from London, and this guy's from the Congo. He's Congolese. And I'm like, whoa, I think you've got somebody else's DNA mixed up here. But then, like I said, my aunt actually backed that up. And I talked to my great aunt who was in a nursing home, and she backed it up. And I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. But I guess my grandma only told the people she was worried would like freak out if like their baby wasn't looking like the rest of us, because she
wow.
never told me. And she would, and I guess my grandma told like my cousin, who is a sweetheart and would not, she wouldn't have cared what color her baby was. But I guess she like told my cousin, she's like, just so you know, your baby could be black. And my cousin's like, no, what? And my grandma's like, well, your baby could be black, just so you know, we have a black ancestor. Da, da. And my cousin's like, oh, okay. So she thought grandma was maybe drinking or something. I don't know. And then I did this DNA, and she's like, oh my God, grandma's right. And I'm like, why didn't grandma tell me? And she's like, I don't know. So I think grandma was just like, you're baby crazy. You could have like an alien baby with horns and you would still love it. I'm pretty sure both my kids have horns and are aliens. So yeah, like I said, I got a werewolf daughter. So,
That's amazing.
yeah. So, but yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, I'm totally for it. I'm like, everybody should do 23andMe. You'll find out we're all the same race. Everybody love each other. Get over this bullshit of like everything. Just love
Oh,
other humans.
I mean, we're all from the same race anyway. That's
Yeah.
just how evolution works.
When the aliens
We've got
come in July, we'll
yeah,
all be on the same page.
yeah.
We'll be like,
We've had
human.
obviously like all the things it took place in America, the Black Lives Matter stuff. But that's come over here. But it's been over here anyway. But it's really kind of hit right now. And I was only just watching TV while we were off air, and quite a lot of adverts mentioned Black Lives Matter, and I thought that's something new I've not seen for a while. That sort of general nationalized advertising, especially when it comes to sports. And we've only just had over here football, soccer has only just really started up again, like this last week. It's been gone for weeks. We're supposed to have a World Cup this year, the Olympics, obviously. So my dad was like, oh, I don't even miss football at all. And then he was like, I need to watch all the football right now. So like this evening he was watching football. I was like, Dad, I need you to go to bed so I can do this. But then I was watching it, and I watched a little bit of it with him. And all around, I don't know how football stadiums are where you are, but we kind of have these moving advertisements around the bottom of the stadium,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all saying Black Lives Matter. And that was pretty much all they were saying, because there's no fans in the stadium. They're completely
Yeah.
empty. So all of it was Black Lives Matter. And obviously a lot of our footballers in soccer, we have a lot of black footballers, like way more
Mm-hmm.
proportionally than the proportion of the country. So it's incredibly important at that point. And when they were taking a knee the other day, and I was on a Zoom call on a pub. We've all gone really dark and political again here. Sorry. I was on a Zoom call on a pub and said, "Oh, I watched the football thing the other day, and they were all taking a knee and doing Black Lives Matter. So wasn't that ridiculous?" And I was like, "I'm going to shut up and I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to swear at you. You can just fuck right off."
Well, where
But
I'm
anyway,
at in
all of
Wisconsin.
our footballers here are doing Black Lives Matters, which is like all of our footballers before every single match, which is something I've never seen before. And they're wearing black armbands as well on all of their kit, which is again something they would usually do, like if someone had someone involved in the game had died. But it's really unusual.
That is really awesome. Well, I'm actually like 3 hours from Minneapolis. Like I'm literally like 2.5, not even 3 hours. I'm like 2.5 hours. Like I go to Minneapolis regularly. So I mean, so this whole thing, like blew up in a way that it was very personal, for somebody who doesn't live in the city. And it's like, I just, I support the good police. I don't support the bad police. And the sad part is there's just no way to be like, you're good, you're bad. It's not black and white. But I'll tell you, I totally support Black Lives Matters 110%. And anybody who's like, what all lives matters, they don't get it. It's like, okay, you and I aren't in danger because we woke up and we walked out our door. But if you aren't white, you actually are in a position where the color of your skin affects everything. And
you've got to think about it whenever you leave the house. Yeah, you and I don't have to think about that at all. Mm-hmm. And that's the point that I keep trying to make to people, that whatever I do, it's colored by me being female, but that's about it. And that is a big thing, obviously. But
I'm with you. I've had bosses that were total creepers. I'm with you. With you.
Oh, everything that in my life. But the fact that I'm white has never been an issue in how safe I feel. I don't have to incorporate that in anything that I talk about with people. And I've got a very good friend who's British Asian, and she's sort of every now and then she'll say, like, I went to pick up my kid from school and someone mistook me for the other Asian parent at school. And she's like, do you know what? I can see where you're coming from, but do you not see how tiring it is? So yeah, it's something we really need to examine. And obviously in this country we've had, I don't know if you've heard in America about the issue in Bristol about the statue of Edward Colston.
Oh, did they take that statue down?
Yeah, it was actually with ropes, was pulled down and then dragged into the harbour, because Bristol is a massive harbour city. That's why it was the centre of the slave trade. And Edward Colston was a massive benefactor of Bristol. He built half of Bristol, he endowed schools and all sorts of stuff. He did it all with the profits of the slave trade. And people have been trying for years to get a plaque that went on his statue that said, yeah, he did all these great things, but, he got it from slave money. And my local town is Bishop Stortford, which means nothing to anybody, except it was the homeland of Cecil Rhodes, who founded Rhodesia, which is now known as Zimbabwe. And Rhodes founded the Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford. And the Rhodes Scholarship is for boys of the Commonwealth of the colonies to come to Oxford to study. He failed brilliantly. He failed to specify their colour, so that it means that most of the Rhodes scholars these days are actually black or brown, when he thought that they most would be white. And he was horrible racist and did terrible colonial things. Really awful, but a load of stuff in my local town is actually named after Cecil Rhodes. Mm-hmm. And I don't think most of the local people in the town know that it's named after him.
That's crazy. It's really...
That's how ingrained it is.
We have a dark sense of humor in our household. My husband's aunt did genealogy, and his first ancestor to America was an Irish indentured servant. They did a crime. England sends them to
Oh yeah.
America as an indentured servant.
I
And
apologize.
it's okay. It's not your fault. It wasn't you or your
We
ancestors,
did
I'm sure.
a lot of that kind of shit.
It's
I'm
all good.
sorry.
I'm cool because I like my husband, so it worked out for me. Thanks back in the day. But anyway, so and so so he finds out his first ancestors this, and I find out about this with this ancestor I have, and I'm like, why are our kids so lazy? Their ancestors had to work really hard for no money, and our kids don't do anything. So I'll tell you right now, the genes that hardworking slave gene did not rub off on our children. It's very sad. Very sad.
No, it's not me either. When I looked back into my family history, it was like, so we were just like peasants and labourers and labourers and peasants and peasant labour. We just basically, we worked in steelworks or we worked in factories, and then we were just general labourers for very many generations. Like I've got friends who've done, oh, I did my family history and it turned out that my family were landowners. And I was like, well, fuck you.
I
Your
feel
family.
you. I
Yeah.
feel you. My maiden name basically is a German word for a farmer. I'm like my maiden name is like you're a farmer. So like yeah, I have no kings or queens in my background.
Is it
Only hard
Bush
workers.
Gardner? Baumgartner? Something like that?
No, close. But it was Hebner spelled with a U.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's basically like a prosperous farmer is basically what my maiden name means. And like there's like none of the maiden name there. And everybody mispronounces it because there's a silent letter in it. And so
Oh, yes, one of those German letters.
exactly. And so when I've had people who either had the same, last name as I, as customers, because again, I talk to people all over the country in my line of work, my day job, or they've had like a street name with that, and I pronounce it correctly. How did you know that? Like, it's my maiden name. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. I've already told my husband that if he dies, because I write under a pen name, and I'll tell you the story about that in a second. But I've already told my husband for my real last name, if he dies, or if I remarry, or if we get divorced, I'm keeping his last name. I don't care. His last name is very pronounceable, very normal. I'm like, it's mine now forever. And honestly, I've had that last name longer than I had my weird, unpronounceable last name. So it's all good. I got married when I was 20, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I'm still married to
Oh,
the same guy.
that's amazing. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
You picked
So
the right guy.
I'm just really stubborn. I'm just really stubborn.
You had good instincts. I'm just trying to think of who I fancied when I was 20, and it would not have ended well if I had married any of them.
I've beat him a lot over the years. I put a lot of work, and like the shock collar really helps a lot. Really helps a lot. But no, we've been married now. Oh my God, this will be like 22 years in October. We'll be married 22 years.
Wow.
I know.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So and like I said, I've only beat him 3 times a day. So it's great. It's perfect.
My
He's
mum,
a truck driver, so in dog years we've been married 7 years.
my mum used to say something similar because her surname is very Irish. And she married my dad, whose name is Johnson, which is obviously my name. And her sister married someone called Smith. And
Nice.
I
Easy
kind of
name.
went, Mum, I thought you were joking about the whole surname thing. And she says, yes, when you've grown up having to spell McLaughlin, you want to marry someone whose name you can spell. So, yeah. And there are many, many, many spellings of McLaughlin. And I used to work for an airline that flew to Ireland 6 times a day. And I came across that spelling in McLaughlin once.
Wow.
So there are, yeah.
That
So when
sucks.
she said, I married your dad because I could spell his surname, I was like, I think she might not have been joking.
That probably made him more appealing as a spouse.
Maybe
I
more
know.
opinion. Yeah.
I know when they were like, I went to like change my ID and everything like literally a week after I was married. I'm like anal like that. I'm like, I've got to do these things and get this stuff
Yeah.
done. And the lady who like did everything at the registry, she was like, "Wow, this is the quickest I've ever seen a new bride come in to do this." And I'm like, I'm just giving up the old name. I'm good. Just ready to take on a new one.
I'm actually right now, I'm writing a book where my hero is an actor and he's getting married and he's using a pen name. So I'm actually jumping through so many hoops trying to find out, can he get married under his pen name? I don't think he can. Does he
Not
have
in America, at least.
I don't think he can here either. He's got to get married under his real name and what process he has to go under to get. But the stupid annoying thing is whenever I look at anything official, they're going, we're not holding weddings right now due to COVID-19. I'm like, yes, I know, but theoretically, in my book.
There's no COVID in my imagination, damn it.
But in my
No.
book. Yeah. So I think the logical answer is he will have to change his name to get married under his real name.
Well, that sucks for him.
Work.
Alexa's making weird noises again. Alexa, shut up. Shut up, Alexa.
We have been going for a while, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried that Alexa's like possessed, and like I feel like there's a spirit that lives in Alexa, and my next book is going to be about the Alexa spirit and like how she haunts my house. I'm pretty sure. But speaking of haunted things, I feel like Zoom is haunted because it's let us go way over. So I'm gonna let you be free for the morning to write.
It's because we have rambled a lot. I didn't read any of your book.
It's okay. It's okay. Nobody wants to hear that. It's fine. You just saved my one reader in Siberia a moment of pain. Thank you. Thank you. So, but it has been amazing, and I will post it on YouTube.
All working because it was so annoying early when it didn't. Oh my god.
I feel like it was my computer. I think Alexa gave it an STD. Don't tell.
Something.
She's beeping again.
That
She's
Alexa.
like, Tammy, you slut. Alexa, don't be a slut. I feel like she doesn't know that one. I feel like the computer knows that she knows that one. So on that note, Kate, buy her on Amazon. Kate Johnson, Max 17. You will not be sorry.
Thank you so very much, Ashlynn. This has been just so much fun. I've really enjoyed talking to you so much. So thank you for organising this entire thing. And I hope I will see you all soon.
You will. You'll hear from me online. See you later.
I will look all online. Bye.
Bye.